Alright, welcome to the last game, the deciding match, because this was a best of 5 series between LsP ViPeR and LsP Flamingo. Flamingo playing the white Zerg against ViPeR playing the yellow Protoss. Okay, this will be exciting. This is 2-2 at the moment, that's the standing, and basically it was 2-0 for Flamingo. Or 2-0, and then ViPeR managed to win one game. And the last game was a really exciting one. ViPeR went for a pull rush and managed to pull it off, so he managed to bring it back to 2-2. And right now this is the deciding match in this best of 5 series. This will be an exciting one. ViPeR starts off with a fast gas. He will probably go for a fast drop, which it's quite a huge advantage for him, as his enemy is a Zerg and going for the choke. Most Zerg players who go for choke tend to forget about drop defense because they really want their choke to be safe and sound. They are focusing on that, trying to protect it and so on, and they forget to build a drop defense. And most players tend to make use of that. I mean, they tend to abuse it. Once they see the choke building up, they go for a drop. They just simply know the fact that I mentioned, and they want to abuse this lack of drop defense on the part of the Zerg player. And ViPeR's strategy is a business as usual, so to say. He tends to do this most of the time, and he will be happy about the enemy being Zerg, I think. So so of course this is random. All games are random versus random, and the moment they don't know each other's race and position. ViPeR is just focusing on the drop, while Flamingo is focusing on the choke. If this works out, then it will be a fast GG. These kinds of fast drops decide games easily. If you are fast enough, then you can do the drop around I don't know, like 5:30 minute mark, so around the 5:20, 5:30 if you are fast enough, and of course if the enemy is next to you, then of course it's absolutely possible. And Flamingo is just starting to scout in the... Okay, he was just sending the 2 Zerglings up, but he changed his mind and sent one Zergling down, so he will be able to spot ViPeR, and he will be able to see this fast drop if he scouts good. If he doesn't scout good, then he won't see it. So he's going on with the Zergling, and yep, there he goes. He saw the robotics facility, so now he sees a drop being prepared, and he will really has to change the way of building up his base. He immediately went for the gas. He just wants to produce enough gas to be able to produce hydras and use these hydras to protect against the drop. We are soon at the 4th minute mark, and by this time the Protoss player has a shuttle and then starts producing reavers. And yep, so Flamingo knows this and places the Sunkens in the proper spots. Zerg players have to place 4 Sunkens like this, and they will also have to build like a sunken right here and right here, and this way they are, so to say, protected against the drop. ViPeR is just delaying this river drop, and he was focusing on getting a shuttle quite quickly to be able to transfer zealots to his base. This is a nice move, but since Flamingo saw the drop, he went for Sunkens. If Flamingo didn't see this drop, he wouldn't have gone for these quite fast Sunkens right here. He would have focused on the choke. But right now, yeah, so this wasn't really beneficial for ViPeR. because he went for the fast drop, which was spotted by this other player who went to defend against the drop by Sunkens, and this way the drop to his Zerg base was not successful. I mean the Zealots. But right now he's coming with the river, and he will use the river to push these Sunkens, and he will use the Zealots to protect the river. Right, so he's just coming in and uses the Zealots to occupy the Sunkens while the river is just pushing in and going for the drones. So he's going for the drones, and let's see. Oh, okay, that manages to connect. So he managed to connect, killed a few drones, which the Protoss player wanted to do. He really wants, the Protoss player really has to focus on damaging the economy of the Zerg player in the beginning. If the Protoss player doesn't manage to kill drones, then it will be a huge problem for him, because then the Zerg player has time to get big and bigger, get drones and get his economy going. ViPeR managed to kill a few drones, so Flamingo has to focus on getting them back. This is the time when the Protoss player just getting bigger and bigger, preparing more drops. They have to focus on dropping these Zerg players constantly. Okay, this time ViPeR is just coming outside and will use the reverse to break the choke, and then he will be able to get inside Flamingo's base. He's going for the bus and not waiting the reverse. He was not using the reverse for that, but he just wanted to go directly here, and Flamingo is just doing this stack and pulling these drones. He didn't manage to take them to another base. He was just sending them to his own gas expansion, but right now he's just taking the drones to another base, and he manages to save them. But ViPeR is just doing a great damage right here in the base. Okay, not that much as I expected. He was trying to go for the hydrogen, but now he's just losing these Zealots to these drones. But he will just try one more time. He will just bring the shuttle and drop the trigger. Let's see if he manages to connect. Oh, okay, he didn't really manage to do that. The Sunken was in the way, and he took the shot. And Flamingo managed to save most of his drones, but he lost mining time. He couldn't really focus on his economy, getting hatcheries and so on. He really has to deal with these drops. So ViPeR is doing a great job by harassing the Zerg player. He's just trying to attack the choke right now with the Zealots and the reverse. He will be able to destroy that. Flamingo is reacting with the Hydras and bringing them to be safe against this attack. He knows if he loses this choke down, his base will be vulnerable to attacks, so he pulled his Hydras and protected against that. ViPeR is just going back, and will probably get this river up and go for another drop. Flamingo is just getting drones back and will use those to bring the choke up. And another drop is coming inside. Flamingo doesn't really have anything to protect against that. And the river was okay. The river was lost, unfortunately. That was a bit of a bad move and a miscontrol by ViPeR. He didn't, so he dropped the Zealot and dropped the river in time, but he didn't use the river to go for the drones. The choke is being built and he's just getting the Sunkens up, but ViPeR is just dodging this. He doesn't really want to deal with these Sunken colonies. He's going for the drop again, supported by Zealot this time, and dodge is being made by Flamingo. ViPeR knows this. He won't drop this river. He knows he wouldn't be able to kill any of the drones because Flamingo was just sending them away. But right now he's just dropping this river here and trying to kill those Hydras and kill everything he can. But he really has to retreat. Drones are being pulled back. This is the time when Flamingo has some time to get back to the game. ViPeR is just coming back with the drone. That's a nice move. That was an unexpected move. Let's see if he manages to connect. He really has to find the drones, but the Scarab didn't hit. If the drones manage to get to a safe distance from the river, then for the Scarab it's a hard time to connect. This is the momentum that the Protoss player doesn't want to see or be in, because after some unsuccessful drops, Protoss player has a hard time to decide what to go for. Go for mass, continue dropping. He knows that the Zerg player's economy was not harassed really much. He knows he has time now to get the choke up, get more drones and so on, and he cannot really do anything against that because he can't go through the choke. And after some unsuccessful drops, the Protoss player just gives up. He just really loses, so to say, his will to go for that. And this is the time when they go for mass units and go for the reverse to break the choke, which he's doing right now. So he's not focusing on those drops anymore, he's just focusing on breaking the choke so that he will be able to pour inside with his units. He went for 2 Nexus, so he will have a huge economy, which he does right now. He has lots of minerals because he was focusing on the drops and he didn't make units. This is the time that when the Zerg player has to make use of not being dropped. Once you are not dropped, then you can really get hatcheries and focus on the choke. The Zerg player has to do right now, because once he loses these Sunkens, then he will be vulnerable against ground units of the Protoss player. But Flamingo is not really focusing on that. He's just trying to get units and go for Evolution Chamber and some mutas. That was a nice reaction by ViPeR. As soon as he saw the Mutalisks, he pulled those rivers and used the shuttle to save them. Queen's Nest is laid down and ViPeR is building up, getting units and trying to go for the bust with the rivers and the units. He will be maxed out anytime soon, so he will have to try to go for the bust and break his choke and kill his enemy. He doesn't have a detection, so lurkers are a good option right here. But ViPeR has some High Templars, which will be useful against the lurkers. He's going for the cannons to defend against drops. He doesn't really have any defense right here near the main, so if Flamingo went for Mute Bomb, he would be successful. Probably he will not do that. He didn't really scout ViPeR's base. He doesn't know what to expect there. But if he knew he didn't really have anything right there, he would go for the Mute Bomb to kill the main. Okay, so ViPeR has just reached the supply block status and he's maxed out. He will really have to do something right here. You cannot really sit there waiting if you are supply blocked. You have to make use of your units. Maybe ViPeR is going for the all-in. He's not building more gateways, he's not getting bigger. He might go for the all-in with the rivers and his units. He has gateways right here. He might be going, so he might try replenishing his units from here. He's not really focusing getting gateways right here, just outside. Alright, that's interesting. ViPeR is not going for the attack. He is just right now supply blocked and maxed out. He uses this time to get defense against Mythos. He's feeling that the Zerg player might go for the Muta Bomb. If a Zerg player doesn't really come outside or try to come out, then it means they are going either for Mass Hydras or Mutilisks. This is a strange placement for the cannons. He's just laying it anywhere he can. He's just like laying them randomly because he knows that he's building outside, so he has space for the gateways here. Okay, so this is the time when ViPeR is going for the attack, and he's not using the reverse to break the choke, but he's going for the drop. ViPeR is going for the drop right here and manages to drop one Templar, which, yeah, didn't really do a great job because the drones were pulled and Flamingo managed to save his drones. He has a nice defense right here with Lurkers and Sunkens and Mutas, so it's really hard to drop. The hardest player to, or the hardest race to drop is Zerg, always the Zerg, so they have lots of possibilities for drop defense. Hydras, Sunkens, Scourges, Lurkers, Guardians, and so on. It's really hard to drop a Zerg player once they get big. The easiest one, I think, is a Protoss player, because usually Protoss players just go for cannons around the main, and even if they build cannons right here, so on the border lines, then Corsairs can be used to take the damage, and then shuttles can just go inside, and then the Protoss player just unloads 3 Zealots and 1 Templar, and then it's easy to drop the Protoss player because the cannons just go for the Zealots. On the other hand, Terrans can go for mass turrets, and they can also build bunkers around the main, build some tanks, and use them as a drop defense around the main, so the Terran is also nice as regards drops, defending against drops, but Zergs have the greatest possibility to be safe against drops. ViPeR is going for mass arbiters, and he will use them to... I think he will use them to... what is it called? My mind is not working right now, I'm just getting a bit tired. So that word doesn't come to my mind. Then, yeah, okay, it's it's status, or what's that? Come on. Status field, okay, just finally it came to my mind. So the Protoss player will use the arbiters for status field and paralyze the Zerg units. That's his only chance. And he will also use some Corsairs to fight against Guardians. So right now he's just using this reverse to break this choke, but Flamingo has some Mutalisks which he will utilize right now. He's using these Mutas to kill his reverse, and the ViPeR doesn't really have anything to protect against this. He's just bringing the Templar, but he doesn't have energy, and Flamingo just had time to kill those reavers, so he's safe against any rushes. Okay, ViPeR is in a bit of a trouble right now, as the Zerg player managed to get big, and he has lots of hatcheries, he has economy, he has drop defense, he has anything a Zerg player wants to have. And ViPeR is close to being maxed, but he doesn't really have many units at the moment. He has lots of probes mining from all tank gases. Yeah, that's lots of drones, so they take supply. And now he's coming with the arbiters, and he will use them for making the units invisible, and also to use the status field to paralyze the Zerg units, most probably Guardians. Alright, so both players are maxed out right now, reaching the limits, and it seems that, yeah, so both players are maxed out, but they don't have many units. Most of their supplies are lying in economy, so probes and drones, and they do not really have many units. Flamingo is just saving up for guardians and use these guardians to kill the reavers and any units supporting them. ViPeR doesn't have many gateways, just some right here and some outside here, while Flamingo has lots of hatcheries. So ViPeR will have a hard time making units. He doesn't really have many gateways. He won't really be able to refill his units, and if the Zerg player just comes outside with guardians and hydras, then ViPeR will be in a huge trouble, because he will have to protect against that mess of the Zerg player. But since he doesn't have many gateways, he won't be able to produce units. He's heavily relying on arbiters and templars. Guardians are coming in from the upper side and killing these cannons, so Protoss player will have a hard time defending against the masses of the Zerg player. He won't have cannons, and he doesn't really have anything to fight against the Guardians because the pylon was lost, and these stargates are all outpowered and they cannot produce anything. So ViPeR is in a bad spot. This might cost him the game. He doesn't really have any air protection. He really has to kill these Guardians, otherwise the game is over for him. The Guardians are doing a great damage, damaging all the and destroying all these units, and ViPeR doesn't really have anything against that. That's a huge problem, and as a Protoss player, you don't want to see this happening. You don't want to see a Zerg player being contained in his base. But right now he managed to cast this spell, and he just has to focus on these Guardians, and he might be able to be safe against that. But Flamingo is just coming outside with the Hydras, and ViPeR will have to deal with these units anytime soon. He manages to kill these Guardians with the Templars and with the Arbiter, making them paralyzed. And he's going for the recall, so ViPeR is trying to go for the recall. Let's see if he manages to do that. He pulls off this Arbiter and he does that, but he only recalled some units and Templars, which is enough, so he wanted to go for the drop anyway, and this was a nice move by ViPeR. This was his last chance if he wanted to be safe against the Zerg player. Now the Zerg player has to focus on getting the drones back and cannot really produce units. This is the chance for ViPeR. He really has to grab this opportunity to get his gateways back, produce units. Otherwise, he will be in a huge problem. He will be in a huge trouble. So Flamingo is just reproducing the drones, and he also had enough economy to produce some new Hydras, which he's using right now to attack. As a Zerg player, after being dropped, you might want to go for an attack, just to harass the Protoss player so that he won't be able to drop again. ViPeR is doing a great job, but it's GG. Okay, that was unexpected, so to say. ViPeR, I think, left too early, but alright, that's it. So Flamingo won 3-2. GG.